I guess it's all about what you prefer. What is up, guys? It's Mega Man Chief Fan here. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing kind of a different video, and that is just me doing a discussion on about preferences. Now, this may be the most controversial video I've ever made because I'm going to spread some of my opinions on this video. But enough about that. I have done this recording countless times, so why wait? Why beat around the bush with a baseball bat? Just let's get into this. And the way that I want to start this is my opinions on something. Pretty much picture this as the thesis statement for the video. I'm going to be honest. If you guys can probably tell, I'm not that big a fan of YA, which is the young adult demographic. It's not really a genre, it's more of a demographic more than anything. But here's the thing, I can't really badmouth YA either, because I haven't read that much, and I barely know that much about it. But the few YA novels that I read, I really didn't like. Like, I gave 1 out of 5 stars to both of them. Yes, I've only read 2. That's why I'm saying that I shouldn't really judge it all that much. But it was the Hunger Games. It was the first Hunger Games book, and the first book in the Internal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. And I really didn't like the Hunger Games, and I think that, what was it, A Clockwork Angel, was it? Yeah, A Clockwork Angel. I thought the book was awful. I thought that book was awful, personally. But, here's the thing. I read that book early on in my reading phase. Like, when I was starting to get into reading, I wanted to, hey, this book was popular on the YouTubes, let's check it out! And I didn't like it. So I just decided, hey, let's check out another book that I heard a lot about, and that book was 1984 by George Orwell, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was an absolutely fantastic book with memorable characters, a great story, an inventive world, and some of the best language in the history of literature. I swear, 1984 is one of my favorites, if not my favorite book besides Catcher in the Rye. Oh, 1984 is so good. But I could praise 1984 another day. But now, I just want to say that the reason why I feel like I prefer classics is because I enjoyed the first classics that I read, while I didn't enjoy the first YA novels that I read. And I always say, oh, I hate YA around people that I know. And honestly, I can't really say that. That makes me sound like a hypocrite. Because like I said, I can't really judge it because I don't know much about it. But then I started reading more and more books, including Great Expectations. I don't have it with me, but it's The Catcher in the Rye, obviously. And I'm also going to show off Moby Dick, because Moby Dick, it's amazing. But these novels, I absolutely adored. I thought they were amazing. I thought they were fantastic. And just excellent. I thought they were absolutely excellent. And I just fell in love with classics, and I feel like that's because I read the right classics. If I read something like Ernest Hemingway, which I really didn't like, or something like James Joyce, I don't see why anybody would read James Joyce as their first classic, but I feel like if you read somebody that you don't like, you'll just say, all classics are bad, da-da-da. And that's how I felt like with YA. I felt like the one or two YA novels that I read were bad, so I went around saying, YA is awful, da-da-da. And honestly, I feel like I didn't give YA enough of a chance. But at the same time, I really didn't like those 2 novels that I read. I thought they were kind of dumbed down towards a certain audience. And it just made me feel bad while reading it. Not in a way, I'm sympathizing with it, but just kind of a bad feeling. Just kind of like a bad and disgusted feeling. And honestly, I was just not the biggest fan. But there's also classics that I hate, like James Joyce and Ernest Hemingway, and there's modern books that I actually really like. I don't just like 19th century and 20th century classics. I also like modern classics, there we go with the classics. But I also like literary fiction, and a few genre fiction here and there, like with fantasy, sci-fi, and not really romance for me, but if you like romance, go ahead. But I'm more of a sci-fi guy, personally, if when it comes to the debate of fantasy and sci-fi. But enough about that. What type of books do I really like that are modern? That is literary fiction. literary fiction is what it is. It's literary, and it doesn't really have a genre, so it's just fit into fiction. So that is where my example of literary fiction comes in. The Dinner by Herman Kolch. Or Kolk, however you say it. It's Dutch. But I think this is a combination between literary fiction and like a thriller. But this was absolutely phenomenal. I first heard about this book from one of my favorite booktubers named Baz Pierce. You guys probably heard of him. He's really big. But yeah, I first heard about it from Baz Pierce, and I absolutely love this novel. So, not only thank you, Barry, but this kind of got me out of my comfort zone. I feel like I'm too comfortable in the classics chair, and I feel like I can't get out of that classics chair once in a while to sit in another chair. So, that, for me, is just why I read this novel. Well, besides the fact that Barry said it was great, and I most of the time agree with Barry, but this novel really helped me get out of my comfort zone, and it eventually led me to read the first Harry Potter book, which I didn't really like, but hey, it was at least getting me out of my comfort zone. And I also read one of my new favorite authors, Stephen King. And this guy's still writing to this day. And you guys probably all know Stephen King. He's absolutely massive. He's one of the most, best-selling writers of all time. But Stephen King, he is a really good writer, and I personally find him one of the best in 50 years, if not the best in the past 50 years. He's absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, really happy that I found out about Stephen King, because when I first read Stephen King, I wasn't a fan of him, but then going back, I really liked him. So yeah, this is why I say don't just go with preferences. Even though I may be sounding like the biggest hypocrite here, but personally, if you prefer something, then you're probably going to read it more, but sometimes you do have to get out of that comfort zone. Don't just sit in the chair thinking, I'm going to sit in this chair forever. Sometimes you have to get out of that chair and go to another place to sit, because you cannot stay in one chair for your whole reading life, kids. Or kids. But there's loads of adults that do it as well. I shouldn't just say kids. Sorry. That's my apology. I apologize. Yeah, I say read diversely, but if you have preferences, go ahead and read more. Like, I read more classics, but if you like YA, you're gonna read more YA, but sometimes go to classics and give it a real big try. And that's just for me. That is my opinion. I feel like readers should be diverse, and even though they probably will read more of a genre, they should try all genres. And I know that's impossible, but if you're a fan of YA, try a classic. If you're into classics like me, try a YA novel. So, that is my opinion, and that's gonna be the video, guys. My goodness, I finally made a video where I'm not ashamed of uploading. So, anyway, tell me in the comments below what you guys think about my discussion. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it in the middle? Was it eh? So, anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm Mega Man Chief Fan, and I'll see you later, guys.